Coming up on today's episode.
We sit with the client, with both husband and wife. We see what they want to have on their first investment property or a owner occupier. I always advise, if you have a borrowing capacity of 1 million, don't worry about the maximum capacity. How much you can afford now. For example, go for 600,000 property and maintain that one for the next 10, 12 years. So that the capital growth is very important.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, other thing is cash flow is also important as well. Capital growth is like an engine, and cash flow is oil, petrol. So we need both of them. We get informed them each and every step what we're doing behind the scenes. We always tell that they might see 1 or 2 updates from me in a week time. It doesn't mean we're sitting idle.
Yeah,
we do lots of research on the properties, talk to the real estate agents, and most of the time, wherever location I choose, I go personal and visit that location.
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Joe Agresta. Now, today's episode is all about buying smarter. So, especially not harder. That's always the trick. And if you've ever sat on realestate.com.au, overwhelmed by listings, unclear on what's a deal versus a dud, then this episode's for you. I'm joined by someone who lives and breathes property investing with a keen focus on helping time-poor professionals build wealth through property. Upendra is the founder of Investors Nest, a Melbourne-based buyers agency that's passionate about strategy-first investing. He's got a sharp eye for detail, a love for numbers, and a calm, process-driven approach to finding high-performing investment properties. Upendra, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Joe. Great to be here.
Of course. I've been so excited because when we met, before the episode started, in our pre-interview, I loved the way you spoke about investment and the calm process around it. You made it sound very, very guided, very structured process, especially for busy professionals. I know as a fellow buyer's advocate, I'm also a busy professional, and sometimes I don't have time to buy my own investments, let alone someone who works full-time for either for themselves or for anyone else. So I'm really excited to have your insights on the show today. So I think the best place to start is what inspired you to start Investors Nest?
I would like to take you back to 16 years ago when I landed in Australia as a student. I came up with $150 in my pocket. I did not know what to pay and how to pay my next semester fee.
Oh, geez, that's stressful.
Yeah. So that's how I came up. My cousin who was living here, he helped me to settle down for the first few months. Later on, I started my journey. Literally nothing. Yeah.
I can't believe that. That's a lot of pressure.
Yes. As a student, especially, it is. Then, I believe in hard work and, the consistency, what I do every day. That kept me going. Then, after 6 years, I got the permanent residency. Then, I was living in Geelong.
Oh, wow. That's quite far from the city.
Yes. So there, one time my wife, she put a, rangoli in front of the, house. We were renting there. The owner got very upset. How did you do that? The deck is recently painted. Then I thought that, I should not rent anymore. I should buy my own property. Then I started digging out, where to buy and how to buy and everything. Then, I came up, one of my friend, he told me, there are lands available in Tarnite. So come and have a look. I went there. I had a look at the property because I was very new. I did not know what to do and how to do and everything. He told me this land is on nomination. So you purchase it. But the second thing he said, you don't get it on contract price. You need to pay extra. So I had to pay $10,000
oh my God.
From my pocket. Yeah. In 2016, $10,000.
No, it's a lot.
It's a lot of money. And he introduced me one of the builder. That builder took me like around 11 months to build that house. So totally it was a nightmare for me during the construction as well. I had to call him here and there, sometimes within 2 months as well. So no progress in constructing the house. That struck me. I should have someone guided me the whole process. Even though I plan and construct the house, experience was it took me 15 months overall.
Wow. And the reality is that that's so common, right? For a lot of home buyers who are tuning in today, even being on market, I think the average for the nation is anywhere between 6 to 9 months. And that's just an average. But there is also about, I think it's 12% of the nation that is on market for a lot longer than 12 months.
Yes. To be frank, I had a discussion with one of the mortgage broker. He was mentioning, it takes a 6 to 9 months time. And the third pre-approval.
That's right.
That's where, So lots of clients come to us. They never come at the first pre-approval.
Yeah.
So when somebody calls us means they're at the second or third pre-approval.
And it's crazy to me because it shouldn't be that normal to have lapsed pre-approvals three times in a row, but it is. It's so normalized that people think that that's just what happens on the property journey. Strap in, too bad. You're on the market for 9 months, but it's not the reality when you get support.
That's right. Recent transactions which I had within 3 weeks time. So the contract gets unconditional since they signed the agreement with me.
That's phenomenal. What a difference. And I think this is part of what we're going to unpack today is how, what is your process? Because there's obviously a process behind getting properties within 3 weeks. And I think when you've got a professional who does it full time, instead of you doing it part time on the weekend, in between family, in between social working, it's always better to have a professional in your corner because you're doing this every day. You're not buying one property a year, you're buying many properties a year versus the average person who's buying maybe once every 5 years or 7 years, unless they're an investor, maybe it's every 2 or 3 years.
Yes, in Australia, every one of us is great property advisor. Even when you sit at a barbecue as well, so many people, they advise you where to buy, what to buy. They themselves may not have that 1 or 2 properties on their name.
That's true.
Yeah,
but it's the uncle at the barbecue.
Yeah. Yes, I had few discussions as well before I started this business. I used to believe blindly if someone says that as a friend. For example, the real estate guy calls you and they say that this is a beautiful property for you. I used to say, let me go and have a look. And later on, I realized that why someone is calling you and advising your property, you're not paying for him. How come someone is doing you free service?
Oh, that's a really interesting perspective. I've never heard someone put it that way. That's so true. Yeah, it's why are they calling you? You don't pay them to look at properties for you, so...
Yeah, that's what I realized. Then I started digging and researching myself. So in Australia, if you wanted to, earn the passive income, there are many ways to earn the passive income. The best thing is invest on property.
Yeah.
The property is always stays there 60, 70 years, the average lifespan of the property. So when you buy the property in a right location at the right time, at the right price, definitely it will grow.
I think that your story is so inspirational. I think a lot of people listening are in the same boat as you, whether they've immigrated or they're newly immigrated, or even just anyone who hasn't got a starting fund and they're thinking, I have $150 in my pocket. I am Upendra today. How did this guy come in and do the hard work and build his portfolio to a point where he's now helping others and advising others? I think that's so inspirational.
Yeah. The first thing is the clarity. Not only a spouse, both a husband and wife.
Yeah.
Sit together. What is their goal next 10, 12 years? When you have that clarity, then everything comes into places.
I like that. That's a really good tip and a sweet one too for people that are in relationships as well, because you have to be aligned, right? If one person wants something different.
Yeah. We have so many things that when someone signs up, we always take the brief from the both, wife and husband. 95% both have a different opinion about buying a property.
I love that take. Yeah, because they're two different people. It's not one person that does the brief.
Yeah.
I like that. And so you find that there's always a big discrepancy or not much?
There is a much discrepancy. That's the reason, we sit together and we work with the numbers according to their budget. So this is the area where you can invest or buy the first home buyer or owner occupier.
Wow. So, and that kind of takes me to my next question is, who's your core market? Is that owner occupiers, investors, or you do both and you kind of just deal with the clientele as it comes?
The main focus is on investors.
Yep.
I was there in 2020 when I started building my portfolio. I had 2 kids.
Yeah.
So whenever I wanted to go for an inspection, I had to carry them, obviously.
How old were they at the time?
At the time, they were 1 year and the other one is 5 years old.
Oh my gosh. So you've got one that's potentially could cry and get upset, but then the 5-year-old that's going to touch everything.
Yes. So by the time they wake up and get ready, it's 10:30. By the time inspecting 1 or 2 properties, someone says I'm hungry. Someone says I want to go to that. So I believe most of the transactions happens, especially the young couple, out of frustration. They see that going every Saturday for inspection, it is too much.
Yeah, and it can be a little bit boring for kids until they're old enough to understand.
That's right.
No, I totally get that. And I think this is, your background, obviously then you went, so how did you go from, having these experiences yourself and, starting to buy your first home in Tarneit? What was your journey into investors net?
One of my friend, he told me that, so have you thought about after retirement, what is your income stream? Have you worked it out? He told me you should have a reverse engineering. So now you are working a full time. After 15-20 years, you wanted to retire. What is your income source? Do you stay on the pension or a superannuation? Or do you have any other plans? I was thinking, I never thought about it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a hard one to think about.
Yeah, I thought buying 1 property or 2 property, that's it for my life. Then I, sit down with my wife. We discuss what are our future goals and where you gonna stay. Luckily, my wife is such a lady. She never wants hi-fi apartment or the house where you have a flashy bathroom or kitchen and everything. She always says that I'm happy if you take me to the 2-bedroom house. I'm happy as long as all the amenities and everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Then I thought not only this is not my story. Every one of us having the same struggle to get into the property. So that's what I started I have 6 properties in my portfolio. So,
congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah. Thank you. So when I used to talk with my friends, they say I have only 1 property. The second one is hardly the second one. Most of the people they're happy with only 1 property.
Yeah.
Then I started thinking that this is where I would like to add value to the people. My goal is helping 150 clients next 6 years.
Wow, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is doable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is doable. There are many people, they have money, but they don't know where to invest. They need some helping hand.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the struggle of I think for every first time investor, or after you've bought your first property, you always think very linear. I believe the way we've been raised in this country is you get 1 property and then until you need to upgrade or downsize, that's when you get rid of it. They don't think about it from, well, your property has equity. There's opportunities to grow your wealth. You don't have to just sit here with 1 house and wait until you have more kids or circumstances change and then you get rid of it and change it over. So are you finding, is that kind of what you help people understand as well, how they can actually spend their...
That's exactly right. I had a call yesterday. One of my friend's father, he called me. He bought a house in 2020.
Out of COVID.
Yeah. 2020 2000. Sorry.
Oh, 2000. I was like, heavens.
sorry.
Yeah.
So since then, like he was living in only one property. He never thought about the equity. And now he sold that property. He wanted to move to the different property. So these 25 years, all the equity, whatever there in that property, doing nothing.
Wow. Because that's the potential, right? Like that's basically like a deposit, and not just one. It could be, depending on the equity amount, it could be multiple, the way you want to structure your strategy into property.
That's exactly right. So that's where I would like to add value to the people's life.
Yeah.
So once my always priority is when they come to me, I always sit with them and talk to them what their goals for the next 10 years. I don't just buy the property. Property is not a transaction for me. So I would like to help them to grow their portfolio and leave it to the next generation. As a student, we struggle hard enough. We don't want out.
I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, so that's our first priority, especially migrants.
No, of course, and I think that makes the most sense. Like setting up your future for your children or whoever in your family. Like if you don't have kids, whatever that legacy is that you want to leave security behind, not a mess.
That's exactly right. Yeah. My second generation is already started. One of my brother's son, he also came and stayed with me. He's a student. He started thinking, how to buy, first property.
Yep. But good on him for thinking about it that young. Like I know our producer here, Guy, he's I keep trying to convince him about property and he's not convinced. So I'm hoping this episode changes his mind.
Definitely.
But what I was going to say, I love your story. And like you said, you've done this yourself. And I think one question I wanted to ask, because a lot of people are probably sitting here listening and going, this all sounds like very intimidating and it's good, but how do you get started? What are some of the lessons you can share that you learned from when you did it yourself, like that first property you purchased? Was there anything that kind of stuck with you? You said, the next time I do this, I need to check this, or I'm going to become a buyer's advocate and make sure that I check it for everyone else.
The first thing is the strategy, what you want to do in life with the property. With that, clarity in mind. So then you can, build on step by step. So overnight, building a portfolio is not going to happen.
No, I think the portfolio overnight would be very impressive. No, it's the strategy. So I guess what types of, if we look at like the next segment here, which is like green flags, red flags, like the market reality check. I want to talk a little bit about like the properties that are performing well, because the asset that you buy, not just the location, but the asset is equally important. What types of properties are actually performing well right now? Like, is it about yield, location, or infrastructure?
A bit of three of them.
Yeah.
So 80% of the capital growth depends on the suburb and intra-suburb locations.
Yep.
So 20% on the property. When we're choosing the property as well, there are so many factors to look into it. For example, my friend bought a property on a main road, too much noisy, and now he's struggling to sell it.
Oh, that's devastating, because it's things that you don't think about I think a lot of people suffer from fatigue when they've been on market for 6 to 9 months or longer. And when they find a property that's good enough, they end up just buying it. And they don't think about the resale. It's like, well, what if I want to sell this property in 5 years or 6 years? Would someone else buy it?
Yeah, that is a good perspective, right? Do I like the property? Does it make sense? After 6 months' time, I may not like the same property again, right?
It's true.
Yeah. Does it perform the property? That makes sense.
And I think like performance, like you said, is equally important. And I like the fact that you've said, 80% of it is actually the suburb. How do you go about picking the right suburb? Is it chasing numbers, or is it kind of a mixture of looking at the buyer's requirements and goals and then having to do a bunch of due diligence to find the right places?
We do 35 data points before we dig into that location. We check the first thing is what is the demand and supply ratio in that suburb, and we check that the vacancy rate is there, and the most important thing is the stock on market.
Yeah.
because that's where you get outcompete, people overpay. When the stock is very low and the demand is very high, you get people that just pay anything to get a property.
That's right.
And it's tough because when you're a buyer's advocate, your job is to try and help that buyer secure it at the right price without overpaying. So how do you find that balance? Like when you're finding those suburbs, does it come down to like the micro suburb level where it's like what streets are performing versus not performing, or you go to that depth?
Definitely we go to that micro level suburb research. We check that where is the socio-economic houses are there. We check out, we go into the such detail that what sort of orientation the property is.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Before I became a buyer's agent, I'm a energy efficient assessor. I know how to check the property in and out. Yeah, just we have a star rating for the appliances. Same thing, we give star rating for the houses.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So you've come up with your own kind of star rating.
Yes.
Amazing. So, and that's kind of like is that data point driven and performance driven on how you assign stars?
We check the structure of the property. Obviously, we check out the fixed appliances. We check nobody checks that an attic. We go to that installation level as well.
It's very thorough because these are things that the average buyer or investor I don't think would even think about checking.
Yeah, that's right. So that's where I am confident that I give value to the purchaser, whoever comes to us.
Yeah, that's super important. And I think one of the other challenges, right, is balancing motion from strategy. So you would get some buyers, maybe more of the first, the owner-occupier buyers rather than investors. But how do you help, investors or buyers separate emotion from strategy? Like when they're getting caught up in, but it's, my dog would love it, my kids would love this. You're like, it's a bad decision.
Yeah, that's right. When we go to the inspection with the client, or client goes himself, just I compare always when you go to in front of the tiger, the deer, how it feels. So it feels whatever, he's always afraid, what questions should I ask the real estate agent?
It's true.
Yeah. And real estate always, he's doing his best job. So nothing against them. They're fantastic people out there. There are many people, they look after both vendor and buyer as well. In most cases, they get the money from the vendor.
Yeah.
So how they look at it.
They're very limited in how they can support. Like I was a real estate agent and I went into buyers advocacy for the reason that I had so much sympathy for buyers. I'm like, I think I want to be with the buyers, not the sellers anymore, because I wanted to help the buyers. But when the market's really tough, at the end of the day, my job and my commitment is to the vendor. I have to represent their best interest. If they want a certain price, that's my job to push that price.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hard.
Yeah, it is very hard. Just presenting your case in the court.
Yeah.
Opposite party has a lawyer. You don't have a lawyer on your side.
True.
What are the percentage of winning that?
That's a great analogy because we often, I feel like, and I say this a lot on the podcast, and I just like to really sink the message into our listeners, but it's not necessarily correct or normal that you buy property without support. It's just because it's been normalized to do the DIY approach. Our parents did it, our grandparents did it. Just because they did it like that, you're spending effectively your life savings on a house. So why wouldn't you employ someone to make sure you buy the right asset at the right time, like you said, in the right location?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Our parents and grandparents, they might buy only one property all their life.
Yeah, and then they're giving you all the advice at the barbecue.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
They tell you everything. I guess, one of the things I wanted to speak about was, we've talked about strategy, and I think one segment that our listeners love is this Reddit segment where I look at the forums and it's where we do some myth busting. So I want to read you a real story, and I just want to get your take, and I'll ask you a couple of questions about it. But I thought this was an interesting situation for this buyer, and I would love to know, how, what might have gone wrong and how you could help. So let's get into it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So this story comes from Reddit. It's from the Oz Property thread. It says, we bought a house in an upcoming suburb that looked great on paper. 5 months in, we're stuck with a tenant who hasn't paid rent in 2 months, and the area is full of new developments dragging prices down. What did we miss? So do you find this is this Redditor? What's your take on that? They've bought in an up-and-coming suburb. Everything looked good on paper, but then they're stuck with someone who's not paying rent, and now all the new development is dragging prices down. What do you think, what could have gone wrong here?
This is not only his case. It is happening in most of the times.
Really?
Yeah. People, they see that if I buy a property there or a land there and construct the house, they think that the property value will go up. Certainly will go up at certain level. Maybe it may give you an equity of 100,000 in first 2-3 years. After that, what is the performance of that property?
God, yeah, it's so stressful when I hear stories like that.
The other thing is when we buy the property as well. For example, when you talk about the stock plan, how many houses they're going to construct in that area? So that really matters.
Yeah, it does. And it's a lot too that they usually develop. Sometimes not enough, and enough competition to be there.
That's right. The other thing is people generally ignore that vacancy rate in that particular location.
Right, because it's up and coming, so everyone just turns a blind eye. Or they might not even know about the data metric, to be honest.
That's right. So they always sees that new home, so nothing will be go wrong for next 20-30 years. That is right. But if you don't get a rent on time, will you be able to survive?
No, it's what's the point of that investment? And I think that's part of that, getting the right property manager, getting the right people to do these things. Is that part of, you've got people in your network that you would recommend to buyers once they've, found an investment property?
That's exactly right. I'm not good at property management.
Yeah.
I need to go to the professional who does best of his job. We engage all the professionals in that our process. We go to the best building and pest inspector. We go to the best conveyancer. So these are the team we work with.
Yeah, so you really focus on, this kind of leads me into the next part, which is, the investor's nest mindset and method. Walk us through, I guess, how do you work with a client from day one?
We sit with the client with both husband and wife. We see what they want to have on their first investment property or owner occupier. I always advise, if you have a borrowing capacity of 1 million, don't worry about the maximum capacity. How much you can afford now. For example, go for 600,000 property and maintain that fund for the next 10-12 years. So that the capital growth is very important.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously. Other thing is cash flow is also important as well.
Yeah, that's the balance, right? It's the capital growth, but also the cash flow.
Yeah. Capital growth is an engine and cash flow is oil, a petrol. So we need both of them.
I like the analogy for our car enthusiasts.
Yeah.
People are oh yeah, you need that. Okay, got it. And I guess most of your clients looking we've talked about cash flow, capital, but how involved are your clients in the research and decision-making process? So, because you do a lot of the work yourself.
Yeah, we get informed them each and every step what we're doing behind the scenes. We always tell that they might see 1 or 2 updates from me in a week time. It doesn't mean we're sitting idle.
Yeah.
We do lots of research on the properties, talk to the real estate agents, and most of the time, wherever location I choose, I go personal and visit that location.
Nice. So you're actually getting boots on the ground. You get real information. You go and look and feel the suburb.
That's exactly right. Always think that when client comes in, I wanted to see myself in their shoes. If I can buy that property, I always advise them to buy. Otherwise, I never advise them. Yeah. As I mentioned in the beginning, property transaction is, buying a property is not just a transaction for me. Someone is believing in me and they approached me. I need to give my best shot.
No, I like that attitude because I think a lot of people, we get paid for what we do, but it's a very big responsibility to buy someone, find the right investment or the right property. So, taking it seriously it's great to hear other professionals who are just as passionate about, if you hire me or you get me, you will get looked after, and you'll do all that you need to do to get them the right asset, right property and growth.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, do you specialize in a particular region or like a type of property? Because I know with a lot of buyers advocates, we always have like a specialty. Mine is the Southeast. So that's my, I love that segment of the market. And that's where I usually play in because I know it so well. But do you have like a particular region, or are you agnostic, like you just can service anywhere?
That like when you go to the Meyer shopping center, there are plenty of dresses out there. So all of them may not suit us. There are some dresses that may fit us, looks nice as well in buying a property as well. We need to have that portfolio where we can enjoy the lifestyle, what you do, potentially grow the portfolio. So says that depends on the customer's need and wants. In a short term or a long term, I'll suggest the location. I don't. So
it's not like you're dictating, you're kind of mapping it and personalizing it to their requests and their goals. And that's why you do the goal conversation at the very beginning to understand, well, what's the motivation here? Are we doing a retirement plan? Are we retiring overseas? Are we retiring here? And I think that's awesome to think about, because a lot of people don't think that far ahead. Some, like a lot of people do, but some, I think they might think that far ahead and they have all this time, but really the time to prepare for that moment starts when you're young enough to do it.
That's right. The other thing is risk. Everyone has their risk appetite differently.
Yeah.
Somebody, they like to buy the property in the capital cities. Somebody, they prefer to buy in a regional area as well. Somebody, they like to buy within 20 kilometers radius of the capital city.
Yeah, of course.
So depends on the risk appetite, who suggests the location.
Yeah, and I think risk appetite, like you said, makes sense. So it's kind of like, once you've got their goals in mind, you go away and do the due diligence and research, and then you're presenting it back to the buyer and saying, this is what we, where we could buy, these are the types of assets available. Is that that's when you get their buy-in, like you said, you're checking in every step and then going to inspections and negotiating?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was mentioning the other point as well. We just it doesn't matter whether the property or not. Does it performs in a long term?
Yeah.
So that is only matters to us when selling the property.
I think that's important. You've put it really nicely, and it sounds like I like the business name you chose, Investor's Nest, because it suggests that nest egg. It's like the long-term planning and the journey you kind of take them on. So I really like that.
Thank you.
No, of course. Now, before we wrap up, I have one last segment for you. I think, actually, even before that, my last question to you is, what are you building with Investor's Nest in the next 12 months? So you have a goal to service 150 customers in 6 years. What does the next 12 months look like for you? What should we look forward to?
The next 12 months, I would like to serve at least 20 clients.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. That's doable.
4 or 5 already on the pipeline.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, anyone who wants to get in touch with Upendra and be part of his portfolio this year, because spots are limited when you're a buyer's advocate, right? There's only so many people you can service. So if you want to reach out to Upendra now and plan your next 12 months of investing, please get in touch.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I don't take tens of clients every month. I take 3 of them.
Yeah.
Once I serve them, then I move on to the next one. Obviously, sometimes they wait for me.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And that's why I was saying to everyone, if you wanted to start planning, we're getting to the end of the year now, the last half of the calendar year. If this is a plan for you in the early stage of 2026, now's probably the time to start planning our journey with Upendra.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Of course. Now, before we wrap up, we have to do one last segment, and it's called Rapid Fire. So this is just for a little bit of fun. I'm going to say these statements and questions, and I just want you to answer with your first thought that comes to mind in a few words. So are you ready to...
Yes. Yes.
So the first one is, one feature you always look for in an investment property.
Always look at the structure.
Structure.
Yeah. In a human body, the bones is important. When the bones are good.
When the bones are good, you don't fall down. I love it. Next one is most overrated suburb in Victoria right now.
There are plenty of them. I could pick up one is a point cook.
Interesting. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. But is there a reason behind why you think Point Cook?
The reason is like, people always think about, there is one Alamanda school or, some other schools are there.
Yeah.
But once the principal changes, everything will changes, the, strategies and everything. Many of my friends, they bought the property in Point Cook and they sold it in a loss.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So you reckon that's, everyone's talking it up, but it's not all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, that's right. Like, that is overrated, especially in Western, suburbs. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Good to know. Thank you for sharing. Flipping on the other side, what's a hidden gem suburb that you're loving lately?
Especially Bendigo area.
Yeah, that's quite popular at the moment.
Yeah. Some of the areas like, Kangaroo Flat. When somebody hears the Kangaroo Flat, they say that there are so many social economic houses out there. There are there, but it's not full of them.
It's not the whole suburb.
Yeah.
Or even a majority, I don't think.
I don't think so, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. And what's one thing every investor should stop doing that's maybe hindering their process?
When you hear something on, TV or an advertisement, say, the first thing is like, hype, following the hype.
Yeah.
Then following the wrong advice, like, friends and family without due diligence. So never buy a property.
So speak to the professionals before you trust word of mouth, TV, advertising, and friends and family, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Unless the family friend is a buyer's advocate, someone who's good at what they do. And our last one here is, what's a personal favourite property that you've bought this year?
Which I live in.
Oh, you bought your own.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, the property which I live in now, if 100 people can come, so they can come and sit down.
Wow.
We have that spiritual gatherings every Friday.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I love about that one, yeah.
It's such a nice way to end this episode because at the start, your journey, you should be so proud of all that you've accomplished. And I'm so glad that someone like you is also helping others, because you have come from, a student immigrant into Australia, not, $150 in your pocket. What do you do next? How do I pay my rent? To, I can host 100 people every Friday at my house. Have, how many properties was it? 6 properties in your portfolio?
That's right, yes.
That's an incredible achievement and very inspiring to those who are tuning in who are thinking that they can't do it, or thinking that this isn't possible. It's like, I can't do it. I haven't got the money. I don't know how I can even imagine it. It's doable.
Yeah. I always says that, like, if I can do that, anybody can do that.
No, amazing. Upendra, thank you so much for joining us on the No BS Real Estate podcast today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation.
My favourite thing about what I do on this show is I get to hear inspiring stories from different people, different walks of life all the time. And I love it because no one's story is the same. No one's struggle is the same. But what's clear is everyone's passionate, and your passion comes through, in how you speak about investing and property and people. The main thing, like I always say, this industry, it's not about houses, it's about people.
That's exactly right, yes.
So, no, you're doing a fantastic job. How can people connect with you or get help on their investing journey?
I have a social Facebook page, Investors Nest.
Oh, perfect. We will put all those details then in the show notes below. So when you're listening to this episode, head to the show notes. We'll put Upendra's social media handles as well as his website and how to contact him if you want to have a consultation. I always say it's free to have a chat. It's not going to cost you anything to pick up the phone and have a chat with him today. So please do pick up the phone, have a call with Upendra and just start the journey, start the goals and get the conversation rolling.
I would like to help more people.
Amazing. No, and we'll put them your way. So if you've learned something new today, share this with a mate who's looking for their next investment property. And thank you for tuning into the No BS Real Estate podcast, where we'll catch you next time.
That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate podcast, powered by Abodey AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodey.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodey AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodey.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.